6 million heavenly profound coins. It seems Yu Tianyao is quite wealthy. Qi and blood potions can be used to help martial artists in the manifestation realm increase their qi and blood volume and accelerate their cultivation, similar to the effect of the blood pattern pill in the blood bell realm. Zhang Haolin has 23 crystal cores, 6 are level 1, 15 are level 2, and the remaining 2 are both early level 3. Yu Tianyao has more than Zhang Haolin. There are 31, 8 are level 1, 19 are level 2, and 4 are early level 3. This can be considered a great achievement. Alright, you can all get out of here. Chen Shen kicked each of them once, and then left. If Chen Shen hadn't seen a figure deliberately flash by in the tree not far away, he might have actually killed the two of them. However, the figure appeared deliberately to remind Chen Shen that serious injury was acceptable, but killing was not. Judging from that person's attire, he should be an instructor from the Sprint Battalion scattered throughout the Duanyu Mountains. This was also a covert measure to prevent any trainees from dying while hunting monsters. It will not appear unless absolutely necessary. Afterwards, Chen Shun continued his search for the ferocious beast. They didn't get back to the base until evening. Today's harvest was very fruitful. He himself obtained 7 first-level crystal cores, 16 second-level crystal cores, and 4 third-level crystal cores. Of these 4 level 3 crystal cores, 2 are at the initial stage and 2 are at the intermediate stage. One of them is the crystal core of the Black Fiend Tiger. Including Zhang Haolin and Yu Tianyao, there are a total of 21 first-level crystal cores, 40 second-level crystal cores, and 10 third-level crystal cores. As expected, no amount of hard work can compare to the speed of robbery. They then converted all of these crystals into points. Looking at the 1,168 points on his bracelet, Chen Shen was extremely satisfied. If you were to hunt monsters alone, it would probably take you almost 3 days to achieve the same result. Robbing someone else makes all the difference. More than 1,000 points, which can be exchanged for 2 low-grade celestial-level precious medicines. A mid-grade celestial-level precious medicine requires 650 points to exchange, which is 150 points more than a low-grade one. However, Chen Shen's most pressing task right now is not to exchange for precious medicines, but to exchange for array pattern cultivation methods. He now has 28 magic runes, which can be arranged and combined to form a set of array runes. He still remembers how powerful the defensive array of the 200th floor horizontal training puppet was. Then, he started looking for good array pattern cultivation methods in online stores. Chapter 62, The Forbidden Scroll of Heaven and Earth and the Forbidden Array of Heaven and Earth. Back in his villa, Chen Shen sat on the sofa and began to carefully examine for any good array patterns. The highest limit that a magic rune in the skin texture realm can withstand is a low-grade Heavenly Dome level magic rune. This all requires the martial artist to possess a strong foundation in magical runes. The energy required for a mid-grade Heavenly Dome array pattern is enormous, and even the physical body cannot withstand it. Chen Shen began to examine what kinds of low-grade Heavenly Dome level array patterns were available. There are quite a few array formation cultivation methods in this shop. However, only 5 sects can reach the lower grade of the Celestial Dome level. They are Power to Break Through the Void, Wall of 10,000 Mountains, Iron Wall of Vajra, Shield of Heaven and Earth, and True Seal of Opening the Mountain. 2 of them are power array patterns, and 3 are defense array patterns. What Chen Shen needs are power array patterns. That leaves only Power of Breaking the Void and True Seal of Opening the Mountain. The Power of Breaking the Void requires one to condense 40 magical runes, which can increase one's strength by 30,000 gene. The Mountain Opening True Seal requires one to possess 42 demonic runes, which can increase one's strength by more than 33,000 gene. Chen Shen felt that his future would definitely not be limited to 42 magic runes. He would at least reach by Mushua's level and possess 48 magic runes. Moreover, there is a high probability that it will break through the 50-point mark. Afterwards, Chen Shen went out and arrived at Chief Instructor Lin Hongcai's place. Upon knocking on the door, Lin Hongcai immediately recognized Chen Shen standing outside. "Come in." Then, Chen Shen opened the door and went inside. Lin Hongcai didn't know why Chen Shen had contacted him, but he figured that Chen Shen must need his help. "Chen Shen, please sit down. I wonder what brings you here." Chen Shen's gaze towards Lin Hongcai was now quite formal. After all, the other party was a powerful expert in the Heavenly Gang realm, someone he could not afford to provoke at present. Moreover, they still need the other party to provide them with their own resources. "Instructor Lin, I'd like to ask if there are any higher-level array pattern cultivation methods?" I don't think the array pattern cultivation methods in the store are very suitable for me. Lin Hongkai became interested and looked at Qinshan. What level of array pattern cultivation method are you planning to use? A formation cultivation method that requires at least 50 magic runes to practice. Qinshan answered without hesitation. Wow, what a boastful tone. Lin Hongkai was also slightly shocked by Qinshan's words. He remembered that when his brother-in-law was in the second realm, he only had 43 magic runes. And that genius from his era, who also possessed the first-order physique like Qinshan, seemed to recall hearing someone mention back in the second realm that he had 51 magic runes. So you people with first-order physiques are so confident? What kind of body-refining technique do you practice? Lin Hongkai first examined Qinshan's martial arts technique before making his own judgment. It is the forbidden scroll of heaven and earth. Qinshan responded with a sentence. Upon hearing this, Lin Hongkai's smile vanished instantly. He looked at Qinshan with a serious expression. Why do you want to practice this technique? It says on the scroll that it's a forbidden scroll. Why do you still want to practice it? Qinshan was a little confused. It seemed that his body hadn't experienced any abnormalities after cultivating the forbidden scroll of heaven and earth, right? Instead, it gave him even greater power than martial artists of the same level. Back then, this was the only high-level external martial arts technique I had. If I didn't cultivate it, who else would I cultivate? Wait a minute. How did you acquire the forbidden scroll of heaven and earth? Lin Hongkai realized the key point. Qinshan used the same tactics he used on Bai Muxue and the others to deal with Lin Hongkai. Bai Muxue's protector said that this seems to be a bloodline inheritance. Upon hearing this, Lin Hongkai frowned. Damn it, whose bloodline would inherit the forbidden scroll of heaven and earth? Judging from Lin Hongkai's expression, he seems quite unhappy with the forbidden scroll of heaven and earth. Chief Instructor, why are you so averse to this martial art? Qinshan asked the question. You are currently in the second realm and cannot experience it yet. Starting from the third realm, the spirit and flesh realm, you will be able to feel the terror of the forbidden scroll of heaven and earth. It can enhance your strength in all aspects of external martial arts. Whether it is perception, strength, or defense, it will be greatly improved, reaching a level far exceeding that of other realms. For every gain, there must be a cost, and the cost is what we have to give up. All of this requires the expenditure of our own life force. Tell me, otherwise why would you call it a forbidden scroll? It's because cultivating it will shorten your lifespan. Generally, only those who are desperate or have a death wish will seek out cultivation. Upon hearing this, Qinshan's expression was not flustered at all. On the contrary, he became even more excited. Seeing Qinshan's appearance, Lin Hongkai frowned slightly. Although your talent is life regeneration, how much vitality does your body have that can withstand such a drain? Generally, martial artists who have cultivated the forbidden scroll of heaven and earth only live 1/3 of their previous lifespan. Qinshan immediately burst into laughter. What a coincidence, Chief Instructor. The immense life force contained within my life revival can just offset this portion of the consumption. Qinshan could only explain it this way. Otherwise, he could have just told him that he was immortal and had an endless lifespan. Looking at Qinshan at this moment, Lin Hongkai gave him a deep look. In the end, she chose to believe Qinshan. If anything goes wrong with you later, you must immediately stop cultivating the forbidden scroll of heaven and earth. Even starting over is better than losing your life. Qinshan nodded. Lin Hongkai then returned to the main topic. Since you are determined to cultivate the forbidden scroll of heaven and earth, I recommend that you cultivate the array pattern cultivation method of the forbidden array of heaven and earth. Qinshan shook his head in confusion, indicating that he did not know or had never heard of it. Lin Hongkai smiled and explained, Of course you haven't heard of it. Probably very few people in the entire Tianlin city have heard of this array pattern cultivation method, because it is an array pattern cultivation method that is paired with the heaven and earth forbidden scroll. Only by cultivating it in conjunction with the heaven and earth forbidden scroll can the heaven and earth forbidden array be brought into full play. Qinshan's eyes immediately lit up as he looked at Lin Hongkai. Don't look at me like that. I don't have it on me right now. Besides, this heaven and earth forbidden array is of a very high level. It's not just a second realm array pattern cultivation method, but a complete set of array pattern cultivation methods integrated into one. It's a moon radiance level high-grade array pattern cultivation method. Because the array pattern cultivation method is only used in 4 of the 4 realms of the body-strengthening martial artist, and the highest is only the 8th realm martial artist. After that, no realm needs to use array patterns. Therefore, the Moon Radiance Grade Supreme is the highest level of the array pattern cultivation method. If it weren't for the negative effects of the Heaven and Earth Forbidden Scroll, the Heaven and Earth Forbidden Array would definitely be considered a top-grade cultivation method at the Moon Radiance level. It also contains all the array pattern cultivation methods for the 2nd, 4th, 6th, and 8th realms. Tell me, how valuable is that? Chapter 63 Yin Qingwei joins the Tianan army. Upon hearing this, Chen Shun was completely deflated. Needless to say, it's not something he can have right now. Then let's choose another one. Even if you have one, I can't afford it. Lin Hongkai laughed. I don't need you to buy it. I can give it to you. Chen Shun immediately became alert and looked at Lin Hongkai. There's no such thing as a free lunch, and Lin Hongkai wouldn't be so merciful as to give him a top-tier moonshine-level array pattern cultivation method. Seeing that Chen Shun wasn't excited about being given the money for free, but instead looked wary, Lin Hongkai nodded in satisfaction. Such a mindset is quite good. I don't need you to pay a high price. I just need you to join the Tianan army in Tianan province and become one of our Tianan army members. Upon hearing this, Chen Shun was immediately puzzled. Chief Instructor, aren't you from the Education Department? Aren't you under the jurisdiction of the Director of the Tianan province? Aren't you in opposition to the Tianan army? Why do you sound like you're one of the Tianan army? Upon hearing this, Lin Hongkai smiled. Then tell me why I can't be a member of the Tianan army? Chen Shun understood that Lin Hongkai was a member of the Tianan army, but what secrets did a martial arts expert at the 7th level of the Tiangang realm have to be parachuted into their small city of Tianlin and become the director of the Education Bureau? Chen Shun decided not to think about it any further. He had a guess in his mind. Why does the chief instructor want me to join the Tianan army so badly? Chen Shun looked at Lin Hongkai with a puzzled expression. Lin Hongkai was very satisfied with Chen Shun and did not choose to join without hesitation just because the Tianan army was the strongest force in Tianan province. Don't think too much about it. The commander of the Tianan army and I are focused on your future. Upon hearing this, Chen Shun realized that the other party must have guessed his physique, which was why they wanted to invite him to join the Tianan army. The future of those with the first-order physique is very promising. You may not realize it yet, but as long as they don't die prematurely, they are almost guaranteed to occupy a counselor position in the Tianxian Empire. Tell me, how can we not strive for it? Upon hearing this, Chen Shun nodded in understanding. Actually, this sprint camp was specially prepared for you alone. I want the sprint camp to be your platform for soaring. How high you can fly depends on how much effort you put in. Upon hearing this, Chen Shun looked at Lin Hongkai with a shocked expression, his face showing utter disbelief and a don't lie to me look. Why would I lie to you? Otherwise, why do you think there are so many precious medicines here? You can exchange them at will, even those at the heavenly realm level. These were all allocated by our military leader to improve your strength before the martial arts exam, and also to improve the strength of others, so that they can compete with you and give you the motivation to keep moving forward, instead of just making you go into seclusion to cultivate. Upon hearing this, Chen Shun understood. Wow, this favor is really quite substantial. Don't worry, after you join our Tianan army, you'll definitely be a high-ranking officer, and you might even become my superior in the future. Moreover, our Tianan army has 1.5 members of parliament behind us, so we have a powerful background. Seeing that Chen Shun was somewhat tempted, Lin Hongkai continued to entice him. Wait, what do you mean by 1.5 members of parliament? Does it mean a member of parliament only has half a body? Upon hearing this, Lin Hongkai coughed violently, looked around, and then breathed a sigh of relief. You little brat, don't talk nonsense. If she hears you, your body will be torn to shreds. Seeing Lin Hongkai's panicked appearance, Chen Shun guessed that the person he had just mentioned must be very powerful. Otherwise Lin Hongkai, a 7th-level martial artist, wouldn't be so afraid. Do you know who you just talked about? Lin Hongkai stared wide-eyed at Chen Shun. Chen Shun shook his head blankly. If I had known, I wouldn't have said that. Upon hearing this, Lin Hongkai was speechless for a moment. You've been inside the Tower of War, haven't you? Chen Shun didn't know why Lin Hongkai had brought this up again, but he nodded nonetheless. You saw that war god ranking, right? Chen Shun nodded again. Do you remember who the second god of war was? Chen Shun nodded. It seems to be a girl named Yin Qingwei. She was very powerful. Her chi and blood and her physical training were only at the late stage of the 9th realm, yet she could reach the level of the second war god. She left a deep impression on me. Lin Hongkai nodded. The one you were talking about is her. Upon hearing this, Chen Shun's eyes widened considerably. With such power, isn't she a member of parliament? In fact, Chen Shun didn't know the exact level of power the counselor possessed. Lin Hongkai nodded and replied, "It's just one step away. To become a counselor, one must reach the realm above the ninth level. Reaching the ninth level in combat power only makes one a half counselor, allowing one to discuss imperial affairs with other counselors." Upon hearing this, Chun immediately nodded in understanding. No wonder I just mentioned 1.5 members of parliament. At this moment, Lin Hongkai also smiled. Speaking of which, you two actually have something in common. Chun was a little confused. She also possesses the constitution of the first tier. Chun became interested. This was the first time he had heard of anyone else having a first-order physique. Her constitution is the fiery sun divine body, and all the light and flames in the world are her subservient. Therefore, she can be quite fiery, and no one dares to provoke her. So, do you want to join the Tianan army? Chun thought for a moment, and then nodded. He swore that he joined the Tianan army not because he wanted to get to know Yin Qingwei, but simply because he wanted a powerful backer. Seeing Chun-Chin's decision, Lin Hongkai also laughed. Then, they took out a login device. Log your information here, and after it's submitted, someone will approve it. Once approved, you'll be a member of our Tianan army and will be labeled with the Tianyu Palace tag. When Chun heard Lin Hongkai mention Tianyu Palace, he figured that Tianyu Palace must be the force behind the Tianan army. Afterwards, Chun logged in with his information, took a handsome photo of himself, and uploaded it. Lin Hongkai approved the application right in front of him. Didn't they say it needed approval from above? Chun asked in confusion. Yes, I am the one above. I am Lin Hongkai, the commander of the Third Army of the Tianan Army. And let me tell you, I'm connected through connections. The military commander is my brother-in-law, so once you join the Tianan Army, I'll protect you. Why did Chun feel that Lin Hongkai was acting a little improperly at this moment? Where did that serious-looking head instructor go? Chapter 64 suffered a loss. Lin Hongkai breathed a sigh of relief after recruiting Chun into the Tianan army. Alright, now that you're a member of our Tianan army, I'll send a message to our commander later and have him go back to the palace to make a one-time copy of the Heaven and Earth Forbidden Array and send it over. It might take 3 days for it to arrive. You can come here to collect it after 3 days. Chun nodded, and just as he was about to leave, he turned around and looked at Lin Hongkai. Chief Instructor, now that we're all family, could I use my connections to get you a celestial-grade treasure? Get out. Earn it yourself. Lin Hongkai rejected Chun without hesitation. Chun felt a pang of regret, but since they had already given him the Heaven and Earth Forbidden Array, he should be content. Be content, my ass. Sigh, I should have added more conditions before he joined the Tianan army. What a miscalculation. With a sigh, Chun walked out of the office, not even closing the door for Lin Hongkai. I feel like I've been completely fooled by Lin Hongkai. The more I think about it, the more it makes sense. The other party saw that he really wanted the array pattern cultivation method. After realizing his needs, they raised the condition to the extreme and used it to force Chun to join the Tianan army. Being hit with such a huge benefit, Chun didn't think much at the time. He was grateful to the other party and agreed without hesitation. But now that I think about it, I lost out big time. They made a fortune by acquiring this genius using only a top-grade moonshine level Heaven and Earth Forbidden Array. Well, once bitten, twice shy? I must be more shrewd in the future. Don't agree to something without hesitation just because you're pleasantly surprised. Lin Hongkai also sat back comfortably in his chair. I've accomplished another great feat. He dialed the army leader's number with great joy. Hey, Commander, I've got it sorted out. Chun has joined our Tianan army, and it's a sure thing that he'll enter the Tianyu Sacred Academy after the martial arts exam. He's definitely going to be a member of our Tianyu Palace. Commander, hurry back to the palace and replicate the Heaven and Earth Forbidden Array. I only used this one condition to lure Chun to our Tianan army. It's not a bad deal for you to spend some contribution points to exchange for a Heaven and Earth Forbidden Array, is it? Well, Lin Hongkai then hung up the phone, lay back in his chair, and smiled. Chun returned to the villa and began to look for any valuable medicinal herbs. Finally, Chun purchased the low-grade Heavenly Vault level Purple Yang Cold Marrow and the low-grade Heavenly Vault level 8 Fine Treasure Ginseng. Purple Yang Cold Marrow is a precious medicine for Qi and blood martial arts. It can enhance one's own Qi and blood and also achieve the effect of tempering the quality of Qi and blood. Chun blood quality is indeed a weakness right now, as he only has the best quality of the mortal level and has not yet reached the profound level. He can use the Purple Yang Cold Marrow to make a big improvement. The 8-skill Treasure Ginseng grows from the 7-skill Blood Ginseng, and there is also the 9-skill Divine Ginseng, which is a top-grade heavenly realm-level body-strengthening medicine. Compared to the sevenfold blood ginseng, the eightfold treasure ginseng has an additional effect. It can significantly enhance the body's defense. Having experienced the exhilarating feeling of having his defenses impenetrable during his battle with Yu Tianyao, Chen also wanted to enhance his physical defenses. What is the surprised expression on an enemy's face when they finally manage to break through your defenses, only to find that the injury has been completely healed in an instant? Although he hasn't been practicing Qi and blood martial arts recently, Chen's Qi and blood have been gradually increasing. It is also because of the effect of the heavenly star scripture that one can absorb the power of the stars in the sky at any time and convert it into one's own blood and Qi. His Qi and blood have now reached 3,835 points. If one cultivates the heavenly star scripture to the point of mastery, one can automatically absorb the power of the stars and increase one's Qi and blood points by about 200 to 300 points every day. However, now I can only absorb a little over 100 points of Qi and blood each day. If you practice the later parts, the speed will be much faster. Not long after, 2 rare and precious materials were delivered. Afterwards, Chen returned to the gravity training room and first consumed the purple yang cold marrow. The taste was like eating an old, unripe popsicle. It had almost no flavor, and the coldness made Chen's mouth feel like it was about to freeze. After swallowing it, Chen felt like his whole body was turning into a lump of ice. Gravity was activated, reaching 150 times the normal level. The battle body and black abyss armor were then activated. The gravity on his body dissipated considerably, and he was now able to cultivate in this environment. Instantly, a chill appeared on Chen's skin. Chen could also feel the icy energy of his purple yang cold marrow rushing into his blood and Qi, both increasing his blood and Qi and stimulating it to improve its quality. An hour had passed, and Chen, who was sitting cross-legged inside, had completely turned into a lump of human-shaped ice. Due to the influence of gravity, the cold air emanating from the ice was instantly pressed to the ground, where it condensed and formed a thin layer of liquid. These liquids contain the energy of the purple yang cold marrow, and consuming them will greatly enhance one's abilities. In the evening, Yixing and Bai Muxue stopped their cultivation and came to Chen's side, only to find him cultivating again. They all knew that Chen had gone out to hunt ferocious beasts today. They've now risen to 5th place in the rankings. Since Yu Tianyao and Chen did not fight in a challenge format, their battle in the wild will not be recorded in the rankings. Xiao Chen's daily cultivation is quite peculiar. A few days ago, cracks appeared all over his body. Yesterday, holes were poked in his body. Today he has turned into a lump of ice. He's really bizarre. Yixing looked at Chen, who had turned into a lump of ice, and chuckled softly. Both of them felt that Chen was really going all out. In order to save the points for the ingredients and herbs used to refine pills, he swallowed them directly every time. His willpower to endure the pain was really strong. Seeing that Chen was still cultivating, the two left. Chen's cultivation this time lasted for a whole day. With 28 demonic runes, his body's endurance and absorption capacity have been greatly enhanced, and it will no longer take him several days to absorb the energy of the purple sun cold marrow. He circulated the intense heat and blood within his body, releasing a heat and blood as fiery as a volcano, instantly melting the ice on his body. Chen's body was like a powerful vacuum cleaner, drawing in the water liquefied from the self-shaped chalcedony that had settled on the ground inside the gravity chamber through his pores. These are all precious treasures that shouldn't be wasted. They're enough to increase his health by 200 or 300 points. Chen exhaled a heavy breath of cold air. This training session has yielded significant results once again. Consuming rare and precious herbs in the most basic and efficient way yielded truly impressive results. My own Qi and blood have reached 5,000 points. Once you reach the peak of the Blood Bell realm, and your Qi and blood reach 9,999 points, you will reach the perfection of the Blood Bell realm. Of course, this low-grade celestial treasure wouldn't just increase Chen's Qi and blood by a little over 1,000 points. After his Qi and blood reached 5,000 points, Chen poured all the Qi and blood he gained from subsequent cultivation into his Blood Bell. Chapter 65 Challenging Jiang Wenrui. At this moment, Chen released his Blood Bell. He had only absorbed 2/5 of the medicinal power from the purple sun cold marrow, yet he had already reached 5,000 points of Qi and blood. Then, 3/5 of the medicinal power, which added up to nearly 2,000 points of Qi and blood, was all poured into the Blood Bell. At this moment, the blood bell was no longer floating with blood and chi as before, as if it would dissipate with a gust of wind. The blood and chi above are abundant, and the red color is already very rich, but you can still see the scenery behind the blood bell through it. The blood bell is still a long way from becoming a physical object. According to Chun Shin's estimation, nearly 10,000 points of blood and chi should be poured into this blood bell in order to condense it into a physical object. After it is condensed into a physical object, more chi and blood need to be added to it, and a dragon of chi and blood will be condensed on it. On by Mushue's blood bell, there are 6 dragons of blood and chi. Only by condensing one's own blood essence into a physical form can one condense a dragon of blood and chi. Each dragon of chi and blood can increase one's own foundation and strength. I still have a long way to go. After consuming the purple yang cold marrow, the quality of his own chi and blood improved from the highest grade of the mortal level to the middle grade of the profound level, an improvement of 2 minor grades. It's all right. It's evening now. Chun Shin hadn't eaten all day. After a day of intense training, he was very hungry and desperately needed to replenish his energy. Just then, Bai Mushue and Yi Xing arrived together. When Chun Shin went out, he saw the 2 people coming towards him. Perfect timing. Let's go have dinner together. Actually, Bai Mushue was dragged over by Yi Xing, just to see if Chun Shin had finished his cultivation. It's already evening, and she really wants to experience the joy of soul connection with Chun Shin again. After all, compared to the hard work of meditation, the cultivation method of merging the soul is more cost-effective. The effects of cultivating these past few days, combined with the pills I purchased and refined, might be enough for 2 or 3 soul merging sessions to achieve the same results. Bai Mushue and Yi Xing did not possess Chun Shin's immortality, so they dared not directly consume the precious medicine, nor did they dare to take any medicine that exceeded their physical limits. They are now both at the 3rd level of dual martial arts. As mentioned before, if 2 martial arts are at the same level, they can be called martial artists of different levels. Both of them were early-stage martial artists of the 3rd realm, and they could only withstand the medicinal power of pills refined from mid-grade heavenly realm pills. Any higher, and their bodies would not be able to handle it, which would be a loss. Taking it would only result in serious injury without any real improvement. Therefore, their cultivation speed is nowhere near that of Chun Shin. Chun Shin just eats whatever he wants, even if his body can't take it. Since it won't kill you, just eat as much as you can. Seeing that Chun Shin had finally stopped cultivating, the 2 women smiled, knowing they could improve their martial arts again tonight. Since they hadn't eaten dinner either, the 3 of them went to the cafeteria. Now, many people who went out to hunt monsters have returned and are having dinner inside. Upon seeing the strongest trio in the current sprint camp, those people dared not speak too loudly, for fear of being noticed by Chun Shin and his group. Try to stay as far away from the 3 of them as possible. Yesterday, news spread throughout the sprint camp that Tianyao and Zhang Haolin had teamed up to deal with Chun Shin, but were instead beaten like dead dogs by Chun Shin. They have now ranked Chun Shin's strength ahead of Jiang Wenrui's. It's just that Chun Shin hasn't challenged Jiang Wenrui yet. Tonight is the last day of the first week. It is now 8 p.m. There are still 4 hours until the first ranking is finalized. The people ahead of them are not in a hurry, but those behind them are extremely anxious. It's obvious that many people will try to steal the rankings in the last half hour tonight. If you manage to escape the bottom 20 at the last minute, you won't be eliminated. Chun Shin didn't care at all, since he wouldn't be eliminated anyway. Chun Shin ordered another deluxe set meal and felt very satisfied with his meal. The 2 women ordered the regular set meal. They weren't very hungry and just needed a little food. After finishing his meal, Chun Shin stretched. Let's go. I'm going to challenge Jiang Wenrui now. After I'm done, the 3 of us can go and do some naughty training. Chun Shin glanced provocatively at the 2 women beside him. Yi Xing didn't seem shy at all, but Bai Mushue's face turned a little red. Chun Shin is currently in 5th place. If the rankings are finalized, the 5th place player will have 20 fewer points than the 2nd place player. Chun Shin still knew which villa Jiang Wenrui lived in. We arrived at the villa area and stood in front of Jiang Wenrui's villa. Jiang Wenrui, hurry up and come out for a fight. Chun Shin stood there empty-handed, and the sound of his voice attracted many people from the surrounding area. They wanted to see if Chun Shin could successfully challenge Jiang Wenrui. A moment later, Jiang Wenrui opened the door, holding a large knife, and walked out with a cold expression. He knew that Chun Shin would eventually surpass him in this sprint camp, but he didn't expect it to happen so quickly. Accept the challenge. Jiang Wenrui has a very calm personality and is often expressionless. He is a cold and aloof man. As soon as he finished speaking, Jiang Wenrui's blood and energy surged to the sky, his short hair stood on end, and he was furious. His strength at the early stage of the manifestation realm, and his own strength at the skin pattern realm with 26 magical runes were clearly revealed. Jiang Wenrui lowered his body slightly, resembling a lion poised to pounce. The blood and energy around his body condensed into a still red lion, enveloping Jiang Wenrui within it. The 26 demonic runes on his body were constantly changing, forming an array. Chunshin also unleashed his full power, activating his battle body, and the overwhelming sense of power pressed down on the entire area, making everyone feel the strength of this pressure. On his fists, the intent of madness condensed into a pair of gauntlets, with black energy swirling around them. The next moment, their bodies instantly turned into afterimages, and the ground was cratered by their feet as they clashed in midair. Chunshin used his fists to fight against Jiang Wenrui's broadsword, but they still didn't lose ground. On the contrary, they gained the upper hand. In Chunshin's opinion, Jiang Wenrui was quite strong, much stronger than Yu Tianyao. Yu Tianyao should be able to take on 2 or 3 opponents. His personality is also calm and steady, not arrogant or domineering, which makes Chunshin think highly of him. However, he will not go easy on the other party because of this. As Jiang Wenrui unleashed another berserk punch, he used his broadsword to block it. However, the intense force almost caused him to lose his grip on the hands and release the violently vibrating broadsword. He gritted his teeth and gripped the hilt of his sword tightly, straining every muscle in his arms to calm the trembling blade. Chapter 66. Fox spirits are spirits, succubi are demons. Let's subdue them. Although he managed to suppress the immense power, his hands were now covered in blood. I didn't completely deflect the force from that greatsword. Part of it was absorbed by my arms, which is why I was injured. Unbeknownst to him, he had already retreated more than 10 steps, leaving 2 deep scratches on the ground from his feet. They looked at Chunshin in shock, not understanding why Chunshin's power was so great. Chunshin felt very satisfied seeing Jiang Wenrui's shocked expression. What is the point of all this hard work and self-cultivation? Isn't it just to see the surprised expressions on your faces? These are all top-tier cultivation techniques that are very difficult to master, and they even shorten one's lifespan. Martial arts skills are also a constant torment to him. Completely disregarding his own capacity to withstand the effects, he absorbed earth-level treasures in the first realm and heaven-level treasures in the second realm. You suffer terribly in the gravity chamber all day long. All this suffering is just so I can surpass you and trample you under my feet. Chunshin smiled at Jiang Wenrui's surprised expression. You still need to practice. He suddenly left the ground again, and due to the powerful impact of Chunshin's own body, a large circular crater instantly appeared on the ground, and an aura spread out in all directions. He rose into the air and raised his right fist high again towards Jiang Wenrui, gathering all his frenzied intent into his right fist. A giant tiger's head enveloped Chunshin's right fist, and he punched Jiang Wenrui below, like a tiger roaring in the mountains. Jiang Wenrui summoned the red lion that enveloped him, looked up at the black tiger head above, raised the lion's head, and with a slash from Jiang Wenrui's sword, the lion's head also rose against the wind and crashed into Chunshin's dark tiger head coming from above. Red can never beat black. Completely consumed by blackness, it itself turned black and was consumed by Chunshin's madness, disappearing completely. And this majestic lion, full of life and energy, transformed into countless streams of blood and energy, scattering all around. A dark, mad aura permeated the space where the two were. As the black, mad intent spread, Jiang Wenrui knelt on one knee, looking disheveled. His right hand, holding a large knife, braced himself against the ground. His clothes were tattered, and he was covered in bloodstains, with blood flowing from his 7 orifices. The overwhelming madness that surged forth in that instant eroded everything. If Chunshin hadn't withdrawn it in time, Jiang Wenrui might already be a corpse. Chunshin stood there, completely spotless. His black and white clothes were still intact, with only a little dirt clinging to the hem. At this moment, he looked calmly at Jiang Wenrui in front of him, without saying a word, but to everyone else, it seemed as if he had said everything. This was exactly the effect Chunshin wanted, a settlement screen unique to the victor. This is the thrill of showing off. Then he turned and left without saying a word. Bai Muxue and Yi Xing followed Chunshin with helpless expressions. Neither of them knew why Chunshin acted so differently in front of them compared to how he acted in front of others. In front of outsiders, he presents himself as a cool and aloof male god, exuding the demeanor of a master. Is this the start of shaping one's image? Shinshin felt that he should also buy a piece of clothing that wouldn't be easily damaged. If I hadn't deliberately diverted some of my attention to protect my clothes during the fight, I probably would have been torn to shreds by the aftershocks of their battle. At the site of the battle, many sprint camp cadets watched the three figures depart with expressions of utter helplessness. Are these three people on the same level as them? In just 1 week, Shinshin was able to rise from the bottom of the top 10 to the top, and now, the top 3 positions are held by the 3 of them. Is there anyone else who can play this game? Are these 3 considered supermodels in Tianlin City? Back at Shinshin's villa, they got down to business. Shinshin is a person who is very passionate about cultivation. He strives for cultivation all day long, every moment. Even at night, he never forgot to cultivate. Only in front of Shinshin does Bai Mushua, this aloof goddess, become less aloof. Bai Mushua's large, white ears drooped softly on her head, and her 6 huge white tails began to sway unconsciously behind her. Her pupils had also turned into a pair of ice-blue vertical pupils, and her whole body exuded an eerie aura. She exudes a strong, mature, and sophisticated aura overall. Eek! However, when Shinshin gently stroked Bai Mushua's snow-white fox tail, Bai Mushua let out a soft moan, and her fair face turned slightly red. It seems that the fox clan's tails and ears are very sensitive. Unlike Bai Mushua's cold and aloof demeanor, Ying exudes charm and allure. A fox spirit is a demon. A succubus is a demon. At this moment, as a Taoist priest, I must rid the people of this scourge and uphold justice. A few hours later. Right now, I'm enjoying a relaxing soak in the hot spring in the backyard of the villa, relieving all my fatigue. This hot spring is no ordinary hot spring. It has special effects that can relieve physical fatigue accumulated from excessive self-cultivation. You're really something else. The bed is practically falling apart. Ying glanced at Shinshin with displeasure. Shinshin curled his lip indifferently and rested his head on the edge of the hot spring. Can a small bed really withstand the power of a pair of golden kidneys? How can you blame me? Blame the chief instructor and the others for buying such flimsy beds that they collapsed suddenly. I even suspect they cut corners. Shinshin smiled and reached out to pull Ying into his arms, the two snuggling together sweetly. On the other side of the hot spring, Bai Mushua was quietly soaking in the hot spring to relieve her fatigue. This cultivation session increased my chi and blood by more than 300, and it seems that my life force has also increased a little. Bai Mushua felt a little puzzled. Could it be that Xiao Qinshin also has the ability to improve his life level? Or is it this spiritual connection that has this effect? This time, Qinshin's health points increased by nearly 3,000. He added all of it directly to the blood bell, which became increasingly solid. Moreover, his 29 magic runes are almost complete. It was also because he used most of the energy obtained from the fusion of souls on his blood and chi. Otherwise, if he had used it all on his external cultivation, Qinshin would have been able to condense as many as 2 demonic runes. The Yin-Yang Harmony scripture at the divine level also gave Qinshin some insights into his own martial arts. However, he is still very weak and cannot access that level of martial arts. Even with the support of the cultivation technique, his understanding of martial arts is not very deep. Chapter 67:38 Magic Runes. Moreover, this cultivation technique requiring mastery at the divine level demands a rather high standard of skill level from the user. Their strength is not up to par, and they are somewhat unable to withstand the powerful energy consumption of this technique. Several times during the fight, Qinshin would have been knocked down if it weren't for his golden kidneys. Otherwise, we really would have lost. At this moment, Qinshin's relationship with the Yin-Yang He Dao Jing is like that of an old car and a 12-cylinder engine. The engine is a good engine, but Qinshin's body is having a hard time keeping up with it. To match this 12-cylinder engine, you need to upgrade your vehicle and transform your old car into a brand new sports car. For Qinshin, it meant raising his cultivation level and increasing his own strength. His physical body is not yet able to fully unleash the power of this level of the Yin-Yang Harmony scripture, and the increase in chi and blood each time has not reached the highest standard. Only when one's level of understanding is elevated can one fully unleash its potential. The master bedroom's king-size bed collapsed, so we have to sleep in the guest room. By the morning of the second day, 20 people, looking as if they had lost their souls and utterly listless, shouldered their luggage and left the sprint camp under the gaze of many. Having enjoyed a week of excellent benefits here, It's really hard to let them leave now. Once they leave such a place where resources can be exchanged so easily, they may never encounter it again in their lifetime. Qinshin woke up slowly early in the morning. After washing up and having breakfast, they all returned to their rooms to continue their cultivation. Beijing and Bai Muxue will be able to finish the pills refined by the precious medicine they bought tonight, and they will probably go out to hunt monsters in the wild this afternoon. Qinshin returned to his gravity chamber. Continue the process of self-torture. He took out the 8 treasures ginseng. As usual, take it directly. Being immortal means you have to fight to the death. Another 2.5 days of self-division. In the 2.5 days, Qinshin didn't know how many layers of skin he had peeled off, or how many times his flesh and blood had been renewed. Anyway, the flesh and blood in the body are constantly being lost, and then new flesh and blood that are even tougher than the previous ones grow out. This is one of the effects of the 8 treasures ginseng. Enhance one's physical defense. However, when the 8 fine treasure ginseng is used to refine elixirs, its effects are greatly reduced, almost to the point of being destroyed. At this moment, in the dead of night, Qinshin finally absorbed all the medicinal power of the 8 treasures ginseng. He looked at the magic markings on his body. Article 38. Compared to the 17 boosts from the previous dose of a low-grade celestial level treasure, this time it failed completely, resulting in only 9.5 boosts. It's possible that if I take another low-grade celestial level treasure medicine later, I can only improve 5 or 6 stats. This speed was a bit hard for Qinshin to accept. However, if other martial artists who practice external martial arts knew about this, they would definitely despise Qinshin and think that he was just showing off. They improved nearly 10 magic runes in 2 or 3 days. If that wasn't enough, they would really want to kill people. It's great to be immortal. I'll dare to take any kind of precious medicine. Qinshin lay comfortably in the gravity chamber. At this moment, the 150 times gravity didn't feel like much to him. If he could retract the Black Abyss armor into his body, he could easily practice his punches in the gravity chamber. However, you need to activate the comprehension battle body. Afterwards, I took a shower, washing away the countless layers of skin and grime that had shed from my body over the past 2.5 days, and then went back to my room to sleep. Qinshin felt that he hadn't slept much in the past week, only sleeping 2 or 3 times, and spending the rest of the time in seclusion cultivating. In the past 2 days, the Sprint Camp has arranged for someone to replace Qinshin's bed with a new one. Moreover, the bed frame is made of steel. I doubt Qinshin could break it apart. I had a wonderful sleep. Qinshin went straight to Lin Hongcai's office. Almost 4 days have passed. By now, he should have obtained his Heaven and Earth Forbidden Array pattern cultivation method. Come in. Upon arriving outside Lin Hongcai's office, before Qinshin could even knock, Lin Hongcai's voice came from inside. Qinshin sneered. It's just mental power. What's there to show off? Once I reach the 4th realm, I will also possess divine sense, which will be no less than your spiritual power. Chief Instructor. Qinshin still addressed Lin Hongcai respectfully, since what he needed was in Lin Hongcai's hands. Hey, don't be so formal. We're both in the Tianan army now. We're colleagues. Qinshin, you can just call me Brother Lin. Lin Hongcai glanced at Qinshin with a smile. This is a future superstar, so we need to take this opportunity to build a good relationship with him. Qinshin paused for a moment, then nodded. Okay, Brother Lin. I wonder if my Heaven and Earth Forbidden Array has been delivered. Lin Hongcai naturally knew that Qinshin had come to see him for this reason. Then he opened his right hand, and a black scroll appeared in his hand. Here you go. This is a rubbing of the Heaven and Earth Forbidden Array. It can only be practiced once. After one practice, it will cause the user to self-immolate. Don't let anyone else see it first. Qinshin nodded, understanding the reason for doing so. If any cultivation manual could be copied and used by anyone an unlimited number of times, then there would be countless cultivation manuals throughout the myriad worlds. Then, a treasure box appeared in Lin Hongcai's left hand. Here, this is for you too. Lin Hongcai placed it on the table and pushed it toward Qinshin. Qinshin looked at Lin Hongcai with a puzzled expression, wondering what it was. This contains a mid-grade celestial level precious herb, a small gift from our Tianan army commander. Please accept it carefully. Upon hearing that it was a mid-grade celestial level precious medicine that he had never taken before, Qinshin's eyes lit up as he looked at the treasure box. Then, she looked at Lin Hongcai with eager eyes and asked, Brother Lin, what kind of medicine is this? What Qinshin needs most right now is rare and precious natural treasures that can enhance his strength. This would be a godsend. Chapter 68, The Underworld Palace. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Lin Hongkai looked at Qin Shun, who was standing in front of him with a smile and a burning gaze. This is a precious medicinal herb for practicing martial arts in a horizontal style, called the blazing fire grass. You should think carefully about whether you want to refine this precious herb into a pill or swallow it yourself. This is no longer comparable to a low-grade celestial-level precious medicine. This is a mid-grade one, and its medicinal power is 3 times that of a low-grade one. If your body can't handle it, it really will explode, and it might not even be able to revive you in time. Lin Hongkai looked at Qin Shun with a serious expression. Qin Shun looked completely unconcerned. Don't worry, Brother Lin, I know what I'm doing. But what are the specific effects of this flaming grass? It has 3 effects. The first is to temper oneself and improve one's realm. The second is to enhance one's physical defense. The third is to leave flame power in your body to enhance your combat power. However, there is only one blazing fire grass. If you have more than 3 and consume them together, your external martial arts training will permanently grant you the power of flames. The power of flames from this one grass will not last long. It diminishes with each use. Lin Hongkai sat in the chair and explained to Qin Shun. Qin Shun nodded. Thank you very much, Brother Lin. Then, Qin Shun picked up 2 items and left. He has never experienced what it feels like to have the power of flames contained within his physical body. Does a single punch come with a built-in flame effect? Today, Bai Muxue and her sister went hunting ferocious beasts again. Qin Shun put the box containing the precious medicine into his spatial ring, ate breakfast, and then went out to hunt ferocious beasts in the wild. He doesn't plan to start seclusion and consume the precious medicine right now. He'll cultivate with his 2 beloved wives tonight first. Recently, many people in the sprint camp have been hunting ferocious beasts outside, which has resulted in there being no ferocious beasts within a 10-mile radius of the sprint camp. We can only go to farther places. Bai Muxue and Yixing were also hunted separately. Hunting together as a pair is much less efficient. The further away you are from the sprint camp, the lower the probability of running into someone. Anyway, Qin Shun hasn't encountered a single person since he came out. Qin Shun headed towards the location on the mountain. Generally, more powerful and ferocious beasts live at higher elevations of mountains. After all, even a powerful beast wouldn't want to be trampled underfoot by a weak ant. Along the way up the mountain, he hunted down many ferocious beasts. Now, none of these level 2 ferocious beasts could withstand a single shot from Qin Shun. Now, only level 3 ferocious beasts can withstand a few moves from Qin Shun, but only a few moves. As Qin Shun got closer to the higher reaches of the mountain range, the ferocious beasts he encountered became increasingly stronger. There are many level 3 ferocious beasts now, unlike when we were halfway up the mountain where we would only encounter a few. So far, the leader has encountered a 3-headed, mid-stage level 3 ferocious beast. However, they still struggled to hold their own against Qin Shen's current strength. They can easily kill without even activating their battle body. A 3-headed, mid-stage level 3 ferocious beast is worth 135 points. This doesn't even include the other ferocious beast cores. It can only be said that the stronger you are, the easier it is to gain points. As Qin Shun continued forward, he vaguely heard sounds of battle coming from afar. Qin Shun walked over upon hearing the sound, hoping the other party could provide him with some crystal cores. With a leap, he landed on a tree, and then leaped continuously, weaving among these tall trees. In just a few seconds, they had already covered a distance of several hundred meters. Then it landed steadily on a tree and hid itself among the leaves. He concealed his aura. Qin Shun was also slightly puzzled at this moment. Because the people fighting here were not from the sprint battalion, and he didn't know them, it was a fight between 2 groups. One side consisted of 2 men and 1 woman, all young people, while the other side consisted of 5 people dressed in gray robes, who also covered their faces. On their chests was a skull and crossbones symbol. Qin Shun thought he looked familiar, as if he had seen him somewhere before. Upon closer reflection, I realized I'd seen this symbol on television before. It seemed to be the emblem of a faction called Hades Palace. The Underworld Palace is a faction within the Tianxian Empire. It's a mixed bag, with good people and bad people, and the author himself has a morally ambiguous attitude. They not only carry out sabotage and assassination missions within the Tianxian Empire, but also bravely fight the enemy when other empires attack the Tianxian Empire. It is a contradiction in itself. It now seems that these 3 young people were likely given an assassination mission by the other side. However, this assassination attempt made quite a stir. It seems that these 5 people from the Underworld Palace are a bit unprofessional, as they themselves are only at the mid to late stage of the manifestation realm. He must have just joined the underworld palace not long ago. The three people they assassinated were also quite strong, all three being at the early stage of the manifestation realm, and with such solid foundations, they should be very promising talents, but they probably weren't from Tianlin City. Otherwise, they would definitely have made it into the sprint camp. The girl was quite pretty, probably scoring over 80 points in looks. She didn't quite meet the standard of a goddess, otherwise Qin Shun would have really considered taking her into his possession. The two people beside her were fighting around her, trying their best to protect this beautiful girl. Qin Shun didn't plan to make a move. He intended to just watch the show. Whichever side wins, the other side will be exhausted anyway, and I can go out and rob them. Why should I save the other side when I have nothing to do with either of them? Is he out of his mind? After watching for more than 10 minutes, neither side had much energy left. Those 5 people from the Underworld Palace are truly useless. 4 of them are at the mid-stage of the manifestation realm, and 1 is at the late stage of the manifestation realm, yet they can't even defeat the opponent's 3 at the early stage of the manifestation realm. How bad must the foundation be for the combat power to be so weak? Finally, a few more minutes passed, and the 3 young men gained the upper hand. The 5 men on the other side were starting to have trouble holding on. They exchanged glances and then, as if on cue, fled in 5 different directions. Qin Shun was speechless. This guy even tried to assassinate someone, and he almost got killed instead. The 2 boys were about to give chase to the 2 of them, but the girl stopped them. Don't pursue a desperate enemy. We're not in a good position either. If we keep chasing them, we might get ambushed and killed. Qin Shun nodded. It seemed that this long-haired girl was not just a big-breasted, brainless person. This girl is an orc. It has long gray hair, 2 gray wolf cubs on its head, a white wolf tail on its back, and a silver moon mark on its forehead. Upon hearing the girl's voice, the 2 men stopped their pursuit. These 2 boys are also beast men. One is a black werewolf, and the other is probably a yellow dogman, judging by their dog ears. The 3 of them sat weakly on the ground and began to adjust their condition. Qin Shun knew that it was time for him to appear. Chapter 69 Crystal Cores. Robbery is still the fastest way. After taking a few steps forward, Qin Shun emerged from the tree branch covered by leaves, revealing himself to the 3 of them. The 3 of them were startled to notice that there was a person standing on a tall tree high above them, and then they looked up at him warily. All 3 assumed that the people from the underworld had returned, and they immediately stood up, picked up their weapons, and assumed defensive stances. Who's standing there? The white-haired girl frowned and looked at Qin Shun. At this moment, their bodies were very weak. They had just experienced a battle where the numbers were unequal, and their vital energy was almost completely depleted. They had very little strength left in their bodies. However, upon seeing that Qin Shun was merely a Blood Bell realm martial artist, they all breathed a sigh of relief. The white-haired girl noticed that Qin Shun also had long white hair, just like her. At the same time, Qin Shun's charm value had reached over 120 points, and his masculine charm was fully displayed, showcasing his handsome masculinity. Upon seeing this, the white-haired girl instantly developed a great deal of goodwill towards Qin Shun. After all, who doesn't like looking at handsome guys? However, the other 2 boys didn't have the same positive feelings towards Qin Shun. As a fellow man, he noticed that his female companion seemed to have a hint of affection in her eyes when looking at Qin Shun, while she was completely hostile towards him. Qin Shun took in the gazes of the 2 men. In Qin Shun's opinion, these 2 were just like boiling sheep. Hey kid, have you been spying on our fight for ages? The wolf orc looked at Qin Shun with a gloomy gaze, clearly showing his disgust for him. Qin Shun showed no panic whatsoever. Instead, he nodded calmly, put his hands behind his back, and looked down at the 3 people below with the air of a superior. How dare you, an ant, peek into our battle? If you have any healing medicine on you, hand it over now, and we might spare your life. If you have nothing, don't blame us for leaving you to die in the wilderness. Upon hearing this, Qin Shun suddenly laughed. With a light jump, he leaped down from the tree. How dare you speak to me like that? Before he finished speaking, Qin Shun's figure instantly turned into a blur, and when he reappeared, he was already in front of the 3 of them. He then struck out with a palm at the wolf beastman, who had spoken rudely to him. The force of the strike was so strong and fast that the opponent couldn't even keep up. By the time they reacted and tried to dodge, Qin Shun's slap had already landed on their face. The wolf orc was instantly sent flying. It crashed into a tree with a diameter of 3 meters, and its body, which had been flying backward, finally came to a stop and landed on the ground. The 2 people next to him widened their eyes instantly, their faces filled with disbelief. What happened? How did my companion get sent flying in an instant? Neither of them made any rash moves. Chen Shun was right beside them, and if they dared to make a move, Chen Shun would definitely be faster than them. Chen Shun once again put his hands behind his back and strolled leisurely to the side of the person he had knocked away with a single palm strike. At this moment, the man's left cheek was completely shattered by his own slap, and the bones of his cheek were completely exposed. His mouth was terribly swollen. His left eye was so swollen he couldn't open it. He was bleeding from all 7 orifices, and his skull was cracked. He hasn't fainted yet, so he's not entirely useless after all. But I really can't stand the way you look at me. Chen Chen looked down at the man lying on the ground with an icy expression. He saw the man's murderous intent in his eyes. He raised his right foot back, aimed at the man's head, and kicked out with all his might. It's like kicking a stationary soccer ball. The opponent's head explodes instantly. Blood was everywhere. Fortunately, Chen Chen was prepared. A layer of blood and chi barrier was placed in front of him, blocking the splattered blood from splashing onto him. I haven't even said anything to you yet, and you've already provoked me. I haven't even harbored any murderous intent towards you, yet you've already turned against me. Chen Chen won't waste words with you. He'll kill if he can. Seeing their companion killed so easily by Chen Shun, the two behind them were on tenterhooks. If they were at their peak, they could probably put up a fight against Chen Shun, but right now their strength is less than 1/10 of their peak. Facing Chen Shun, it was a complete situation where you were the butcher and I was the fish on the chopping block. My friend, we didn't share his thoughts, and we didn't harbor any hostility towards you. Seeing Chen Shun look at the two of them, the white-haired woman hurriedly and frantically tried to explain, fearing that Chen Shun might kill them as well if he was unhappy. Chen Shun wasn't one to kill indiscriminately. He could tell that neither of them had intended to kill him. The person he killed was simply driven by jealousy, which made him want to kill Chen Shun. I'm not someone who kills innocent people indiscriminately. It's just that I'm here to hunt ferocious beasts. You all understand what I mean, right? Upon hearing this, the two immediately understood and nodded, taking out all the crystal cores from their spatial rings. These crystal cores were obtained from the Duanyu Mountains. You can have them. Chen Chen took a look and thought, not bad. Most of them were level 2 or 3 crystal cores. There wasn't a single level 1, and the other party didn't seem interested, so he didn't take them. Is that really all? Did you hide anything in your spatial rings? The two were stunned for a moment, then reacted quickly and decisively severed their connection with the spatial ring, handing it to Chen Shun. Chen Shun nodded and accepted it with satisfaction. After examining the contents, I found them to be quite good. 6 bottles of top-grade earthly realm chi and blood elixir, and several million heavenly profound coins. Inside the girl's spatial ring, Chen Shun also saw some clothes she was wearing, including underwear. The weapons are in their hands, not in here. Chen Shun looked at the girl, whose face was slightly flushed. She naturally realized that Chen Shun must have seen the clothes inside her spatial ring. He then examined the spatial ring of the person he had killed, taking out all its contents. He then placed everything into the white-haired girl's spatial ring, and threw the remaining spatial rings on the ground. He took the space ring belonging to the white-haired girl as his own. Because this white-haired girl's spatial ring is the largest, with nearly 30 cubic meters, it's quite impressive. Seeing that Chen Shun hadn't thrown away her spatial ring, the girl's face flushed even more. They suspected that Chen Shun might do something with the clothes they had worn underneath. Chapter 70. Earning money is hard work, but spending it is instantaneous. Chen Shun had no idea what the girl was thinking at that moment. Are you from the neighboring city of Beijing Youth? They both nodded. We are all trained by the War God Boxing Gym in Beijing. The girl offered an explanation. Chen Shun nodded. Next to the Duanyu Mountains is Beijing City, which is considered one of the stronger cities among the 10 cities in this region, and has many young geniuses. Every year, it has been suppressing Tianlin City. What wolf blood do you have? Chen Shun looked at the girl with some curiosity. I am of the bloodline of the Moon Wolf clan and the Human clan, and I have inherited the silver moon power of the Moon Wolf clan in my blood. To save her life, the girl had no choice but to reveal her true identity. Chen Shun nodded. He had heard of the Moon Wolf clan. They were much stronger at night because the silver moon mark on their foreheads helped them absorb the power of moonlight, enhancing their strength. Are you the strongest fighter of this generation, trained by your War God Boxing Gym? The girl shook her head slightly. No, I'm ranked 4th. There are 3 people ahead of me who are better than me. Chen Shun nodded. He could understand. After all, Beijing City was much stronger than their Tianlin City. If this girl were at her peak, her strength might be comparable to Jiang Wenrui's. But if it were nighttime, Jiang Wenrui would be inferior to her. This is the difference between the two cities. All right, you can leave now. Neither of them dared to move, fearing that Qinshan would give them hope only to turn it into despair. Seeing this, Qinshan pursed his lips and left first. After Qinshan really left, the two